So today I'm making a recipe from Plenty by Yoda Madalange, and let's get started. So for this I have some of the ingredients ready. We need some bean sprouts, some tofu, firm or extra firm, some Chinese style egg noodles, some green beans, coriander, cumin, both ground into powder, fresh ground chili paste, some light soy sauce, and then some thick soy sauce. And I brought some sweet soy sauce because I could not find thick soy sauce. And so let's see what else I need. I need an onion, half an onion diced. I need some vegetable oil. It says peanut, but I'm going to just use regular vegetable oil. And I think that's it. So let me go grab an onion right here. And I'll grab my cutting board and a knife, and we will get chopping. Oh, and you're also going to need some Asian greens. Bok choy is what the recipe calls for, and I just grabbed something else from the produce section at the international market that looked similar to bok choy, because the bok choy section was all picked through, and the one that they had left didn't look good. So here's the substituting. I have prepped the green beans and also the Chinese greens. So for the green beans, we just snipped off the ends and then cut them in half on the diagonal if possible. And then just go ahead and chop up the Asian greens into chunks, both the leaves and the stalks. Maybe some of my greens could be torn in half a little. So we'll go ahead and do that. Dice up the onion, and I'm only going to need half of it, so the other half I'll save for later. And since I only need half the onion, I'm going to go ahead and put the other half in a little container to save right away. So here is my cake of extra firm tofu. I cut it in half, and let's see, what does it say to do with the tofu? Cut into 3/8 inch thick strips. Alright, I'm just going to eyeball that. So first I'll cut them into little slabs, and then I'll cut the slabs up into some strips. So I'll stack them. Tofu's good like this. And I think how about we'll do it in 4. Alright, that looks good. Now I got a whole bunch of little strips. We measure out all of the spices and soy sauce and all that good stuff, all the flavorings that we need. That way when we get ready to stir fry, we'll have everything ready to go. That's really the key to stir fries, is to having all your ingredients ready so you can throw them in the pan when you need it and keep stirring and keep going, and then have a very quick meal. Okay, so here we are. I have 2 tablespoons of oil in the pan, and if you have a wok, go ahead and use that. I do not, so I'm using just my stainless steel pan. There's 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. You can use peanut. And the sizzling that you hear is actually from a different pan where I'm trying to fry up some shallots. That's for the topping for this. First goes the onions. Into the pan the onions go. And you're going to be using medium-high heat. The recipe says high, but I don't know if I want to do high heat with my pans, because my pans say not to do that. And so we're going to cook that for about 1 minute to soften. Okay, next comes the strips of tofu. And also the green beans. I'm just trying to be gentle with the tofu, because even though I chose the extra firm tofu, they are still pretty fragile and can break easily. And so we're just getting a little bit of a brown on the tofu. I'm going to cook that for about 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, I am turning my heat up a little bit to high. And then when I give it a gentle stir, taking care again to try not to break it up too much. You could see some of it is breaking up. Okay, this is my lunch and I'm getting hungry. And I guess I could have pressed the tofu. That would have made it a little bit more sturdy. And that's what I usually do with tofu whenever I use tofu for purposes of like either pan frying or grilling, stuff like that. But I did not do that today. I just did not have time. I didn't think of it sooner. And lunchtime was approaching, so I wanted to get this in my belly. But that would definitely help make it a little more sturdy, and it would probably brown more quickly too. Okay, my shallot's already done in that other pan. Take a look, they're going to be nice and crispy, so I'm going to go ahead and drain those while the tofu cooks a bit. Alright, so wow, this is getting a nice brown on the tofu. They look really good. It's smelling great in here. Okay, so now we add the Chinese greens, the pak choy, bok choy, choy sum, whatever it is that you have. And this is just such a nutritious and nourishing dish if you have those greens in there. So I'm just going to wait for these greens to wilt. And once they start wilting, if they're already starting to do a bit, then I'm going to go ahead and add the noodles. Okay, so in go these noodles. I'm going to just spread them out. So I'll do my best to spread them out. And I advise that when you're doing a recipe, read it over before you start. Okay, this looks delicious already, even though the sauce isn't even on it. Maybe it's because I'm so hungry. So we're going to cook this for about 2 minutes, cook the noodles, and then we'll add the spice mixture. 1½ teaspoons ground coriander, 1 teaspoon ground cumin, and then in the flavorings mix we have 2 teaspoons of the sambal olek, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing completely wrong. That's the chili paste, or you can use some other kind of savory chili paste, and 2 teaspoons of thick soy sauce, and 2 teaspoons of light soy sauce, and then 1 tablespoon of water. And then let's go ahead and add the spices. So that was the cumin and the coriander, and here are the soy sauces and the chili paste. I'm going to get as much as I can out of there. Come on out! And then it also says to add some bean sprouts. So I'm going to go ahead and add some there. And my noodles, to me, look like they're clumping up a little bit. I'm going to add just a little bit of water, a little bit more water, because it doesn't look like the spice mixture and the seasoning mixture is able to really distribute. So I'm just going to add a teaspoon or tablespoon more water and see how that goes. I think that helped a lot. I think that was good. And I've never tasted this dish in a restaurant or anything, so I'm not going to be able to tell whether this tastes completely authentic. I'm just going to be able to tell if this is good for lunch. I'm going to turn off my heat and serve it up. Now the suggested toppings for this are some iceberg lettuce, crisp fried shallots, and serve with some lemon wedges. And also some of the extra chili paste on the side. So we'll see how spicy this is to begin with. The recipe called for 2 teaspoons of the sambal olek, or the chili paste. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong. And I actually didn't know how spicy that was going to make this whole thing, so I made a change, which is why I probably had to add some of the water. I changed it and added 1 teaspoon. So if I need more, I can always add it in at the end. And get nice greens here. Make sure I get some tofu. Get some more of the noodles. Alright, yes, I'm having a difficult time with the noodles. Alright, let's add a little bit more tofu. I did a good leg workout today, so some protein, extra protein would be welcome. And so here you go, and I'll top it with some crispy shallots and show you what it looks like. More of the shallots, and now I'm going to go eat. Let's go see how it tastes. Okay, so here's the real test. Just from the appearance, I mean, it looks like a great dish. For my taste, it looks like the noodles maybe are not exactly moist enough, but maybe this is a dried noodle dish. Like I said, I've never had this before. I want to make sure I get some of the greens to taste that. The crispy shallots make a really nice addition. That is good. Well, I'm going to go enjoy the rest of lunch.